Over the past 3 months, I've lost almost 13 pounds, which should be great news, right? Well, when I opened up my recent DEXA scan, it said that I had lost 6.8 pounds of lean mass. So did I actually lose 7 pounds of muscle? This was my third DEXA scan, and seeing how much I had lost on the scale, I thought this was finally my chance to prove to myself that I was no longer obese. Unfortunately, we're not quite there yet, and I'll show you why. So let's jump into the data then. So yeah, here's my last scan right here, April, and here's where we're at, July. So 3 months have passed, and yeah, I mean, we have this big decrease in weight, which is great. I was able to trim some off. My goal for the year is 200, so we're on track for that, which is great. And you know, there's some fat loss here, about 6 pounds, and we also have this lean mass, which is a large percentage of the weight that I lost. So we'll talk a little bit later about what lean mass is. We're gonna just go over some of the other stuff now. But yeah, quite a surprising result. So body fat percentage, unfortunately, we're still in the obese category here. You know, so next scan, right? Still something super obtainable by the end of the year. So I guess before I go any further, you know, what is a DEXA scan? You know, you go in, you get x-rayed, and it's like a 8-minute process, and they're able to tell you stuff about your fat composition, bone density, and muscle composition. So it's just a great view of your body overall. And, you know, for things that are flawed like the BMI, where, you know, it'll say you're overweight just because of your muscle mass, this actually tells you what you've got. So when my body fat percentage here is obese, I actually am obese. There's enough fat on my body to justify that. So yeah, so I'll go through some of the numbers that I got here today. So yeah, I mean, first of all, it gives you some looks at your composition. So here's fat tissue. It's hard to see because obviously I didn't lose much here, but you know, you can see kind of in this region here, it's a little bit better than it was back in April. Not too much, but you know, in a future video when I actually lose some good fat, we'll hopefully see some of this dark blue melt away. But yeah, you can take a look at, you know, pause if you're interested, but yeah, that's kind of the breakdown of that. As far as body percentage, I mean, body fat percentage, yeah, it'd be great to get under 29 and be in the overweight category rather than the obese category. So we've made positive progress towards that. Not quite there. You know, gone from 83rd percentile of most fat to 80th percentile and trimmed about 1% of body fat. So it's progress, and I hope, you know, to be under 29 on that next scan. I use these scans as, you know, kind of confidence boosts before races, just knowing that I'm lighter, knowing that I've got less fat to carry around kind of gives me confidence. So gives you a regional breakdown. So it'll show, you know, what fat percentage are you in every region, right? So the body trunk obviously is still, you know, a bit, it's carrying a lot of my weight right now. And then, you know, the lean mass shows where it's at. And, you know, a lot of it's in my legs. So, so yeah, I mean, you know, pause to look if you're interested in any of this, but it gives you a really comprehensive breakdown of kind of where everything's at. It also shows you your symmetry, so you can see the breakdown here. You know, this will tell you if you've got, you know, too much muscle, too much fat on one side of your, you know, either arm or leg, you know, different sides of your body. And so I'm pretty good, you know, obviously I don't have anything too crazy here. If you get imbalanced, obviously, you know, at least you know, that way you can, you know, work that arm or that leg to compensate. So yeah, and then there's this visceral fat. So if you watch my last DEXA video, this was kind of the alarming number. You can see my result here last time. I was 99th percentile for most visceral fat. That is not good. You know, visceral fat functions as an endocrine organ, pumps out inflammatory stuff into your blood. It's just no good, and it's hard to lose. And so I have made some progress here. I didn't lose a lot of fat this round, but I did lose a good amount of visceral fat. And I'm still 97th percentile. But, you know, it's progress, right? So I hope to see this number come down because this is really bad stuff. And this is something you wouldn't know otherwise, whether you had it if you didn't get a scan like this. So yeah, there's a lean mass index. I'm doing pretty good here in a good percentile for having lean mass on my body. You know, it gives you your bone density. This is something to good to watch over time, especially as we get older. Yeah, doing just fine for that. And then the DEXA scan also gives you your resting metabolic rate. So this is the amount of calories that you would burn, like if you were just laying in bed all day, right? Just to keep your body on. And, you know, this is going to drop as you lose mass. You know, muscle burns more than fat, but as you lose mass, you know, you won't burn as much. So this is a good readout, and the DEXA knows how much fat you have. It knows how much muscle you have. So it can spit out this number that's pretty accurate. And then you can use this to know how to eat yourself into a calorie deficit. You just have to miss that number. So of course, the amount that you burn in a day is your RMR plus anything that comes in from exercise or just walking around. You know, every bit of steps that you get in is also adding to that number. So, and that helps you know how much you should be burning the day. So, okay, so let's go back to the main result here. So what's going on with the lean mass? First of all, like, a couple questions. What is lean mass? Is it muscle? And if it is, then where did I lose muscle off of, right? So lean mass is just non-fat, non-bone tissue, right? So it can be muscle, but it can also be other things. It can be blood, it could be body water, it could be connective tissue, it could be organs. It's all sorts of stuff. So it doesn't necessarily mean that I lost muscle. I think there was a little bit of muscle loss. If we scroll down here, so we're looking at the July scan. Take a look at where I did take a look at this. Take a look at where my trunk lean mass is at. 66 pounds in the trunk. And we go back to last scan, and we are 70.3. So this is where the big muscle loss came from, was really the body trunk. I honestly, you know, I don't do a lot of crunches, push-ups, that kind of stuff. So I don't necessarily buy that, like, I lost muscle off of that area. So it could have just been on that particular day I wasn't as hydrated as my last scan. You know, could have been a variety of things. And so you gotta have to take that with a grain of salt there. But yeah, you know, I'm just gonna try to do a little better of a job of hydrating me before my next scan, and we'll see where we end up. But yeah, you know, fat is obviously the big thing that I'm watching here. I'd love to retain as much muscle as possible on this journey. But yeah, so that's the difference between lean mass and muscle. And I did lose, you know, probably some muscle, but a lot of it might have been just, you know, water and stuff like that. So it's hard to say. So we can just monitor over time and see where we end up. So yeah, expect another one of these videos come October, before my big race of the year. I'll be getting it to hopefully build confidence going into that race. Thank you guys for watching, and see you guys next time. Bye.